Alright. It's time to talk about the story of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And I had something to help me with that. Oh. I'm gonna need this. Okay. Alright, so the biggest thing I wanted to talk about was if this game is canon or not. And as some of you have told me, it is. It is a new timeline split. Which is, I love the fact that Breath of the Wild brought the timeline back together. The next best thing to do is to split it again, which is just great. But knowing that the story's canon is weird. It brings up a lot of questions that I have. Because before, when I wasn't sure, I didn't know if these questions were relevant. But like, now I'm questioning why Terrako can do the things he can do. Like, I've seen a few explanations for why Terrako can do the things he can do, but I don't like any of them. The biggest explanation I've seen is that Terrako gaining the ability to time travel was a wish that was granted when Zelda used the Triforce to protect Link the first time. She said, I have to protect everyone. And I really don't like that theory because the Triforce kind of follows genie rules where you have to be really specific. We've seen it used a few times in the Zelda series, and it is used very literally. In A Link to the Past, for example, Link wishes for all the damage of Ganon's bad deeds to be undone, which included bringing everyone back to life. And one time you see it really fuck up for the good guys is when the king uses it in Wind Waker, where he's like, you stop Ganon from getting Hyrule, and then the gods heard that and was like, cool, and then they fucking flooded the place. So, using the Triforce, you have to be very literal, or it's going to fuck you over. So, saying that Zelda's wish was what gave Terrako time-traveling powers doesn't sit right for me because there's nothing from the wish that correlates with that. Yes, the time travel did end up saving everyone, but that seems to be a byproduct of the time travel. If anything, I could see that the wish brought Terrako back, but I still can't really buy that to begin anyway. Save that shot. Another is that Terrako was made using parts of time shift stones, which is the same material from the Ocarina of Time, which is more believable, but also no. And the reason no is because we see the time portal uses Sheikah language, and time shift stones and the time portal in Skyward Sword has something to do with the Sheikah language, so I kind of want to say no to that too. So, Terrako, or the ancient Sheikah that created the parts for Terrako, because maybe they didn't make Terrako. I mean, we see Zelda here, but they created their own form of time travel. That is maybe using Sheikah, using the time shift stones, but not. Also, it's other things I want to talk about Terrako, knowing that like it's canon, that Terrako, that the game is canon in general. Why the fuck did the king never say anything about Terrako being a toy or that's something Zelda created? Because they didn't know. Impa didn't know, Link didn't know, Robbie, Pyrrha, none of them knew what the fuck was up with Terrako. And why didn't the king ever say, oh, you guys analyzing Zelda's toy? Like, never came out of his lips. Ever. Which is fucking great. And like, the dude's fucking old. Like, he didn't forget that shit. There's no fucking way he forgot that shit. Like, he did make one, well, he made quite a few disapproving comments with Zelda about Terrako, but never once did he mention that she made it or that she was wasting her time. Like, so I'm very confused why the king never thought to bring it up, ever, at all, to no one. But let's let that slide, because everyone lets that shit slide with the king, because it's the fucking king. Alright, so before I get to the part with, like, talking more in depth about the story, considering this part, the other part was just about Terrako, I want to make something clear. I really did enjoy the story of Age of Calamity. I just have concerns about what that could possibly lead to with Breath of the Wild. Because again, this was a story that they wanted to tell. The Zelda team wanted this story to be seen, to be heard for a reason. I remember when I first speculated about this game that we were going to see something in Age of Calamity that was going to have some significance to Breath of the Wild 2. And I do have a few thoughts on what that could be. Before that, I would like to actually give my thoughts on specific things in the story. Now, not gonna lie, when I saw time travel, I was a bit bummed out. A little bit, because it sucks, because I fucking hate time travel, because it fucking ruins everything it touches, but it's fine, I guess, with how it was used in the story. It wasn't used right, but the reasoning, not the reason, the purpose for the time travel, to give the characters a chance to live, is fine. All the moments with Link and Zelda were great, as were with the champions. But as I say that, I'm kind of confused because there's a few things that are kind of retcons, I think. Because the reason why Link didn't talk in Breath of the Wild is because he felt the weight of being a hero, and like, even Mipha notes in like her diaries how Link has changed over the years. But the first thing she says to Link is, you haven't changed. And he's still acting kind of the same. He's even the same kind of glutton. And this isn't because of time travel, it's not because of Terraco's influence, he's the same. Mipha saw him as a child, then he went away, and then he became a hero, he saw him again, and he's still the same, according to her, so what the fuck changed? All of the Urbosa's moments are fucking fantastic, but that's to be a given because Urbosa's a fantastic character. I surprisingly liked Daruk a lot more. We didn't get to see that much of the champions originally in Breath of the Wild, but I always saw Duke as the plainest. But I don't know, just seeing him interact with Link eating fucking pot roast and rocks in general was so fucking hilarious to me. And you know, Rivali's still shit, so I mean, that's there. But at least now we know that he kinda had the skills to back up what he was saying, because Rivali's really fucking good in this game. The Yiga and Koga and Soga specifically are way more threatening than they were in Breath of the Wild, because they had shit. They had a lot of shit. And it's like, and I'm not even talking about Aster yet, because I will get Aster, but they had actual, like, intelligence behind their plans. It kind of sounds mean to say that, but like they did. Like they tried two different types of ambushes, and one almost worked, but you know, Link was there, so. And then they also had Astor. Now, the bad egg is Terraco in Age of Calamity, not the future Terraco. He's the past Terraco, which I didn't think was possible because how the fuck we got corrupted. But some people pointed out that past Malice came back, and that's how, and it's a little weird, but we're gonna move on from that. And he chose Astor to be his the harbinger of the Great Calamity. And all I gotta say with that is, why Astor? Is it because he's the prophet that saw the Great Calamity? It's not confirmed yet. According to Japanese text of Age of Calamity, he is specifically said he's a fortune teller. So that does leave more evidence, but I feel like if he is the fortune teller, why be sneaky about it? Why not just confirm it? But if he is the fortune teller, why is it no one recognizes him? Like, why is it no one's like, hey, that's the dude that told us about the thing. That's not it, though. No one recognizes him. Impa and Zelda I can understand because they're fairly young and the prophecy came years later. But I'm sure the king gets reports of this shit and no one mentions in the fucking report. Like, even with Bursa, she would have been around at that time. She would have seen the fucking thing and didn't say anything that was him. So, we're not sure if Astor's the fortune teller, but if he is, why does no one recognize him? Like, maybe he changed his name, but like, he can't. Can't change your looks that much. Fucking Hyrule, holy shit. I wonder if when the Great Calamity happened in Breath of the Wild before the fucking time travel happened, he was there or not. Because I doubt past Terrako could have gotten that far on his own to find Aster. But it would make more sense for me if Aster was still at the palace and the Dark Egg was able to send a message to him or something, and he grabbed the egg and left. Because, I mean, he does book it in one of the scenes, so I guess it's possible, but no one mentioned the little guardian running around and shit. Like, at all. Okay, so the new champion showing up is fucking great, but it's also super depressing because they did help and like save the day, but they still have to go back to their timeline where the champions are still dead, and it really, really, really sucks for Sidon. It sucks so much for him. The fact that he got to see his sister and was able to save a version of her, but then he has to go back to his home and she's still dead. Like, that sucks. But the interactions between them are very great and very cute, especially with Sidon and Mipha. Like, he's acting like the protective bigger brother, but he's the younger brother. It's great. It's great. Teva being like, oh, so this is what Champion Brawley was like. That's weird. Like, there's so much he wants to say that he can't fucking say because he doesn't want to be disrespectful. I love it. Riju finding basically a second mother figure in Urbosa is also great, considering she lost her mom really young, and Urbosa's kind of the mom of the group, which is still really good. Oh, Yunobo. I really like Yunobo, and he didn't really do much with Daruk. Daruk kind of like took control of like their conversations and stuff, or like their interactions, which does make sense because of Yunobo. But the fact that he was like, oh, I got to like be here with the great Daruk, like that's so great. And he's like, yeah, man. It's like that was nice. It was nice. I kind of wish that this game had a Fire Emblem type of support system with conversations, because I would have loved that. Could you imagine that? The conversations these characters could have had with each other. I mean, I guess it might have been really difficult to do with Link, but also no, because they kind of did it with Byleth in Fire Emblem Three Houses, so they could have done it with Link too. I'm just saying it would have been nice to see more interactions with these characters. And I hope if we get DLC, we get more story-based DLC. Maybe it doesn't have to be canon story, I just would like to see these characters again at some point. Alright, now to my Breath of the Wild 2 concerns. So, I have a few theories. One of them is like crackpot insane, so I'm going to say that one for last. Of what we have seen in Age of Calamity that is going to affect Breath of the Wild 2. And the biggest thing I can see is the champions themselves. Not the old ones, but the new ones. Because not only do they have the memories of this happening, they all now know how to pilot each respective divine beast. Before, that knowledge was kind of lost because the only ones who knew were the old champions, with the help of Zelda and the Sheikah researchers. But now they already have that knowledge right on the go. They have that. So that could play possibly a really big role in Breath of the Wild 2. Another thing I could possibly see from Age of Calamity is Terrako / Aster. I'm not saying we're going to see Terrako himself, but I'm saying we could see memories of Terrako, considering how huge he was to begin with, considering he's a guardian that can time travel. And also, we have no idea how Aster played during Breath of the Wild originally. Maybe in Breath of the Wild, he has Harbinger Ganon. Past Terrako was not corrupted. He could have still technically been a good guy. Or maybe he was never a good guy to begin with, and we can find out about that too. There was something he said to the king during the prophecy. He said, and I might be saying this quote wrong, but the means to destroy Calamity Ganon is buried deep underground. And they took it as the Divine Beast and the Guardians. But you know what else is buried deep underground? Ganondorf's body! Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe he was talking more directly about the source of the Calamity Ganon. So that could play a role as well. Although, now that I was thinking about it, it could also be, we could also see the old champions as well. Considering this is a timeline split, and the only ones who could pass from the new timeline, which is the Age of Calamity timeline, to the old timeline, are those who have access to Terraco. Because Terraco's one screw was able to do it. And not only that, Zelda in Age of Calamity timeline still has access to her goddess sealing powers. Breath of the Wild, Zelda kind of lost the ability in the secret ending of the game, probably due to how long she had been using it, but Age of Calamity Zelda does not. And if they do show up, possibly, in Breath of the Wild 2, that could explain it. They are from this timeline of the events. Okay, so my last thing is kind of crazy, and I would fucking piss myself if it actually got into the game. Oh, she knows. She's fucking ready. She knows I'm gonna lose my shit. But, I could see the time travel concept itself get in. Okay. The biggest thing from Age of Calamity is time travel. It was the game changer. It changed all of our expectations and theories of the game before it came out. And I should not have taken that shot. Holy shit. And it is burning. Okay. So we saw one possible way time travel could work in Breath of the Wild's world, which was the time traveling guardian, Terraco, which Zelda made, but could potentially make again. Because we still don't know what the fuck he's made of and what he was made for. Each of the guardians were made for a specific purpose, which was to defeat the Great Calamity. So Terraco, or models like Terraco, could have been made as the ultimate backup plan in case everything failed, to go back and change shit. So what I'm trying to say is Terraco could just been one of those guardians. We know there's plenty of different types of guardians still in the frickin' pillars around Hyrule Castle. The Masterworks books said so specifically. Even Zelda said so specifically in Breath of the Wild. So there are ways time travel could appear in Breath of the Wild 2, and I think Age of Calamity is showing us that it is something to highly consider, and that it's going to be there. And I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking about it, and I don't think they're gonna do it the way Age of Calamity did it, which was to go back and change it so that the Great Calamity didn't happen. I don't think that's the direction of time travel in Breath of the Wild 2 is going to work. I think what is going to happen is we are going to be able to time travel and explore Hyrule before the Great Calamity to find out why it happened, the source of it, and what the fuck, how to stop Ganon's body and his malice. Because Breath of the Wild 2, Hyrule's really still fucked over. They don't even know how to make fucking stones anymore. They can't even do stone masonry. Like, that's a skill that they forgot to do. Like, yeah, the Sheikah researchers they still have their labs and they can still do things, but that takes a lot of time, and it's fucking there now. So being able to find, or being able to go back when they still had all that skills and bring it to them to stop Ganon at that point in time is something I could see. So not only will we be able to explore Hyrule as it was in Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2, but we also get to finally explore Hyrule before the events of the Great Calamity. We got to see a glimpse of that in Age of Calamity itself, but we can't really explore much of it considering the Dynasty Warrior gameplay and map scenarios. But if this is true, we get to explore it in all its glory. And that's going to be amazing. I mean, I guess they could also just do the lame thing and it's just time travel in the story sense, but it would be nice if they could do it in the gameplay sense. Going back between two different worlds. It's a concept that Zelda's done very much. Going between the light world and dark world, links to the past, going between past and the future, alternate time, going between Hyrule and the Twilight Realm, Twilight Princess. It's a concept they do, and they go do it again. And they probably are going to do this again in Breath of the Wild too. A lot of people have been saying that we'll be able to explore underground of Hyrule, and that is also very likely. Maybe we can do all three. I just like the idea of exploring Hyrule before the Great Calamity. Although the method to do it with time travel makes me feel a bit icky.